Ladies and gentlemen, Season 1 of Modern Warfare is upon us, and with it comes new maps, new game modes, new weapons, a battle pass system, a bunch of different things coming to the game. And I was actually lucky enough to get flown down to Infinity Ward by Activision, put up in a hotel, and actually got to play all of Season 1 a little bit early, so I could bring you guys some gameplay and tell you what it's all about. Now, the thing that I'm allowed to tell you about today is a new map, specifically a new ground war map called Port of Verdansk. And I have to say already, this is my favorite ground war map. And the main reason for that is because it plays a lot more like a close quarters map. Yes, there's areas you can still snipe from, but there's not a 16-story building that an enemy can be sitting on top of with a sniper rifle picking you off across the map. It's much more close quarters. There's a lot more building gunfights that you're going to get into, as you're going to see by the gameplay. And on top of that, there's an Easter egg on this map that is literally an older Call of Duty map on this map. Spoiler alert, it's Vacant. Vacant is literally on this map, the entire map, and we'll look a little bit more deeper at that later on in the video. But I thought a good place to actually start out in looking at this map is the map itself, the overview. So as you can see, what we're looking at here is the middle of the map, and the map is actually kind of divided into two by a highway that runs through the middle of this map. Now, you can go up on top of this highway and look down on the rest of the map, but you really don't have that big of an advantage here, as most of the things that you are actually going to be looking at are inside. But I will say this middle section where the highway is important because, like I said, it divides that map into two. Now, on the right-hand side of the map there, where the B and the D flags are, this is kind of more of the port side of the map, where like the water is, if you will, where it's like the more shipping containers and that kind of thing. On the left side of the highway, that is where C is, and that is vacant. Literally, that entire section of the map is vacant. We're going to look a little bit more at that in a minute. Now, if we zoom out a little bit more, you can see the A and E flags. Now, these are the flags that are close to both teams' spawns, but the important part about these two flags is they are the only two flags on the map that are actually outdoors. So, starting off with the A flag, if we zoom in and actually look at some gameplay from it, we can see that there is just a bunch of shipping containers surrounding one of the objective flags. Now, it kind of looks a little bit like shipment. It's absolutely not, but kind of looks a bit like it. And like I said, it's important because this one is outdoors. Now, if we go to the other side of the map, to the E flag, this one is once again outdoors, and there is not a lot of cover around it whatsoever. So these are the easiest flags to take, but they're also easy to get taken from you, as if the other team has kill streaks, you're going to get rained down upon you because there's no cover. Whereas if we move and look at the middle of the map, all of the middle flags are covered by buildings. So the building that we are looking at here is the B building. Now, this is where the flag is on the ground floor. Now, there are 3 floors above this that you can go to as well. Now, the interesting part about this is there's not a lot of doors or windows that you can get shot from while you're actually inside. So to take the flag, you actually have pretty good cover, and kill streaks aren't going to be able to kill you. Moving to the D building, it's a similar story, but this one is a bit more of a warehouse. So in this one, it's kind of like a 2-story building, but the interesting thing is most of the windows looking into this building are actually on the roof. And there's several different ways to get onto the roof, including ladders and jumping out of a helicopter. But if your enemies get up there, they're going to be able to see into the building really, really easily, as you're seeing me do here. Now, the other important thing about these flags being indoors, it means tanks aren't easily to kill you off when you're taking objectives. Whereas on other buildings, there's a lot of doors, windows, and things that tanks can shoot through to take you out while you're capturing objectives. And we all know how powerful tanks are, so that's actually a really good thing to see. Now, moving to the final flag, C, this is where things get really interesting, because first time I was playing this map, I was in the Infinity Ward studio, and one of the developers that I've talked to several times was standing behind me watching me play. And this is the exact gameplay that was going on, and I was standing on top of this building, and I'm kind of looking around, looking into the building through some skylights, and I realize I have seen this before. And I literally took off my headset, turned around, looked at him, and said, "Dude, is this Vacant?" And he just smiled, and I got back to playing. And then, of course, I wanted to explore the building more, so I kept going back to the C flag, and holy crap, it is Vacant. If you're on the roof, you can see it, the layout and everything, but once you get inside, there are those same things that you recognize from Vacant. The hallways, that little open area right in the middle where B flag normally is on a normal domination game, and then the outside has the same features as well. And it's a really cool idea adding one of these smaller Call of Duty maps into a big ground war War map, even though this map is brand new, there's this familiarity because Vacant is on the map as well. And it brings the question whether or not they can do this in the future. For example, literally adding Shipment as one of the locations on a Ground War map, or adding Rust as one of the locations on a Ground War map would be incredibly cool. Also, they announced that a 6v6 map coming to this game is Vacant, so if they're just going to take Vacant right out of the Ground War map, that'd be pretty damn interesting. So as of right now, this is the only area that, like, Vacant isn't its own map in the game. It is just in this Ground War map. And as I said before, similar to the other flags on the map, because there's an entire building, an entire map surrounding this C flag, it feels like it's segregated from the other portions of the map if you're attacking that C flag. You don't really have to worry about someone sniping you out of the middle of nowhere because you're pretty damn safe inside the Vacant building while taking C. Now, just to show you some of the similarities, I thought I would take this map and compare it to the original Vacant. So the first room we got here is the back room. Obviously, the first difference you're going to notice is that cage is open. Also, the lighting is very, very much brighter on the new Ground War map. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is follow this exact same roof. First of all, we can see this little atrium here, and then we make our way down the hallways, which are actually lit up with lights in this version of Vacant, which they aren't in any of the other versions. And then you make your way into the actual C building here. That is the only open roof building, and once again, the light is much, much brighter. When we go back to the original Vacant, what you're going to notice once again is the light is much darker, and the other thing is that there is pieces of cover in the exact same spots. They really did take the same layout and just adapt it to that Ground War map, which, like I said before, I think is really, really cool, and I'm really interested to see if they do more of this in the future when they release more Ground War maps, to see whether they're going to add previous Modern Warfare maps into those games as well. Now, to finish things up, I just wanted to talk about how this map plays in comparison to the other Ground War maps. The first thing I have to say when talking about this is tanks. Tanks are still really overpowered. But on this map, they are less useful because, like I said, a lot of those gunfights you're going to get into on specific flags are going to be indoors or contained. The only flags that are really wide open are the A and E flags, and most of the time, most of the fights are going to be around the D, B, and C flags. Now, one of the complaints that I've seen about Ground War in Call of Duty is that it feels too much like Battlefield. And to some people, that's a complaint. To other people, that's really good. They want something to play other than Battlefield. And to me, it's kind of always seemed like a crossover, but when I was playing this map, to me, it actually felt more like a Call of Duty game than any of the other Ground War maps. I don't know whether that's specifically because of the a lot more close quarters gunfights, or whether it's just more of a Call of Duty style map. I'm not really sure. But to me, a guy who's played Call of Duty for over 10 years now, that was actually kind of refreshing upon playing this Ground War map. It made me feel almost at home in a Ground War map, whereas before, like I said, it felt like you were playing Battlefield in Call of Duty. Now, it lends to the question to me, what would happen if they actually made a purely close quarters Ground War map? And you may be thinking, like, how the hell would that possibly work, and what would that look like? Something that, like, I've kind of imagined is literally a full mall. Like a full mall with the department stores. Maybe there's a Walmart in there, the various different stores that people could go in, and there wouldn't really be a spot for people to go and sit and snipe, maybe down a couple of the hallways, but other than that, it would be completely close quarters. Something like that would be extremely, extremely interesting to me, because it would take these maps like Vacant or things like that are purely close quarters gameplay and that we're kind of used to in Call of Duty games, and adapt them to this large style of gameplay. Now, I do think it would be more difficult for them to do something like that than their normal Ground War maps, these wide open maps that we're seeing, but I think it would make a really, really cool game style, and I think it would just be really cool to have a purely indoors Ground War map like that. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my summary of Port of Verdansk. Like I said earlier, this is probably my favorite Ground War map. Even though I only got to play a couple of games on it, right away it felt more familiar, it felt more like Call of Duty, and on top of that, tanks weren't as good on this map, so I really like that aspect as well. But I am curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. Do you like this style of map, or do you prefer something like Divorce District, where you literally can sit on top of 16-story buildings and just try to snipe people? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed the video, it'd be very much appreciated if you could hit that like button, but more importantly, I'm curious what you guys have to say about it. What do you think of this map? Let me know down in the comments. And of course, if you want to stay up to date on everything Modern Warfare, stay on top of everything Season 1, make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you turn notifications on, and as always guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time. Peace out.
We are